Niall is the candidate for the Scottish Family Party at the British Westminster by-election, which is happening on the 5th of October. So folks, please say hello to Niall.
Oh, Alistair.
Hi, good evening, Niall. Yes, I just said you're the official candidate now because is it true that all the candidates, well, we know all the candidates have been announced. When was that?
So the deadline was yesterday, so I was in the office yesterday. I mean, usually I'm a last minute guy, but I did think it was a bit late, if I'm honest. So there's 14 official candidates that were released to yesterday night. It was broadcast on STV, and you'll be able to find it through South Lanarkshire Council as well. I see that there's someone called the Emperor of India running. So this is no Diddy election. This is huge. The Emperor of India. This is
Well,
my opponent.
we'll tell you what. We'll put up the list actually of all the candidates, so we can just read them. And I did notice that whether that's a joke candidate or not, who knows? We've got the Liberal Dems, something called the Scottish Socialist Party, who have arrived on a time machine from the 1990s. We've got some so-called independent people.
Yes, which is good to see independents running it. So that is good.
Yes, so long as you know what they stand for, because
Yes.
quite a few of these people can get in, and if they find out they actually vote for the SNP, so we've always got to be careful until we know for sure. The Greens, there you've got your Emperor of India, Prince Ankit Love.
Yes.
It's strange. We've got Niall Fraser, we've got Volt UK, whatever they are, the Tories, the SNP, another socialist coalition called Scottish Labour, Reform UK, and another Independence for Scotland party. So what's that, 14 candidates standing?
Yes. Well, we can boil that down to two, Alistair. There's only two actual candidates in this race. There's me versus the machine. So I've been saying this for a while now. We need to sort of cut the chaff. There's only two candidates, and I'm making it very simple for everyone. There's two candidates. There's me and the machine. So who do you want to give your vote to?
That's actually a very good way of analysing it when one considers the machine is these big parties that have been around for a while and beginning to get maybe a little bit stale, some people would say now. Let's talk about the campaigning that you've been doing. You've been on the streets of Rutherglen and Hamilton West, and is it just you, or do you have a team with you? And when you go out, what do you do?
So it's not just me, but it does sometimes feel like it did start off with just two people, me and a guy who runs the local church in the area, and he was running the street stalls. So we go Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. We have street stalls. We've been dominating the high street, Alistair, absolutely dominating it. You couldn't pass through Rutherglen without seeing our flags and banners everywhere and our supporters. So it's going fantastically well. But we're growing in size and number every week, you see. So it's not just been, it started off small, handed out leaflets, and then as people got to know us, just random people who want change enacted, have just given up their free time of their own volition to help us canvass, to help give out leaflets. And if you're listening, thank you very much for doing that, folks. It's very much appreciated. But again, it all funnels into what we're trying to accomplish here. So it's brilliant. On the streets, I've got some funny stories about what I've been hearing on the doors. Just for instance, you'll like this one as well. So we're on the doors, and so you had to get 10 signatures for your nomination, right? So, I'm just knocking on random doors, cold calling, just in my local area in Burnbank, and I'm saying, my name's Niall Fraser. I just live round the corner. I'm going to be running in the Rutherglen and Hamilton West by-election. All I need from you is a signature, blah, blah, blah. And often they say, so what party are you with? And I say Scottish Family Party, but for this document, you don't necessarily need to support me. For instance, you just need to give your assent. And they said, are you SNP? I said, absolutely not. And they're like, give me the paper. Give me the paper, and and my wife's in the other room, and she'll sign it as well. So that happened on multiple instances, Alistair. No word of a lie. So this is the thing. I think the anti-SNP sentiment is huge, absolutely huge. And this is what I'm getting across the doors, on the street stalls, everywhere I'm going. The anti-SNP vote is gigantic.
Excellent. That's good to hear. So, am I right in saying that you actually live in the constituency then?
That's right. Yeah.
Right. Oh well, that's local man, as they say. That might be worth a few votes. That's good. I should imagine not all the candidates live in the constituency. I should imagine most of them live outside it, quite frankly.
Well, if you'll see, I can be my own election agent because I live in the constituency. Otherwise, you would need an election agent who lives in the constituency to, do all your paperwork for you. It has to be a constituent. So I can imagine a lot of the candidates do not live in the constituency at all. Maybe don't know the area, don't know the names of the streets or anything like that. Don't know the local spots. Yes, I think it's a massive bonus to have a local person who lives in one of the most run-down areas of the constituency. And that's me, I'm coming up right from the ground to swallow up the SNP. Good.
Well, you've certainly got a good attitude on that particular matter. Now, when people, do you have any sort of trouble from people? What's the sort of things that people will? Because you're on the street. Are you on the street for several hours?
Yeah, so we are on the street for hours. Like I said, we're dominating the high street. So we're there Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. Saturdays are big day. We'll do 11 o'clock in the afternoon to 4 p.m. or maybe even just later than that, 5 p.m. The issue with our campaigning is it's not an issue really. We have this big sign with the Scottish Family Party, and it says a man can't become a woman. Simple. And the weeks leading up to this, this sign seems to have been triggering a lot of people in the street. This basic fact has been triggering a lot of people. So I thought, you know what, I need to address the fact that this sign is triggering people, because we can't physically move on to other issues and tackle other issues until this insidious lie that you can change sex is defeated. If we can't all agree, and I said this in a speech, I said that if we can't 100% agree that a man can't become a woman and vis-a-vis vice versa, then we can't actually move on at all. It makes no sense. And we're just living in this fantasy world if we think we can correct and solve any of the problems facing us if we can't agree on basic fact. We're not on the same platform. This sign is causing controversy in all the wrong ways, as it shouldn't be any. It's not controversial. I was called a racist for having a sign that says a man can't become a woman. Simple. Nothing to do with race, nothing to do with it at all. And then a woman come up to me and says, "You're a misogynist." And I says, "Why is that?" She says, "Where's your sign that says a woman can't become a man?" Simple. And I said, "It reads the same. It reads the same back and forth." I mean, come on. This is the level of, I don't want to say stupidity, but the psychological terrorism that we've been facing has bedded in. So it's just become so fractious, this debate. It really has.
It's really interesting. It's very interesting that how people can believe something absurdity, basically, and how you can make that an issue that people will have an argument over. And it's incredible psychological fact. It's weird.
I mean, there's been situations where it's not really an argument. I'm having a conversation with someone and she's giving it to me. She's saying, what if you had a 6-year-old, would you let them change gender? I said, absolutely not. Are you kidding me on? No, I would say go back and play with your toys, and shush.
Yes.
And yet, and at the same time, while I'm having this argument or this conversation, someone else with the public will come and join the conversation, and they'll start arguing, and then it just multiplies. And then, I mean, this is the first time that I think people have had this conversation out in public without the fear of saying the wrong thing, you know.
In that sense, you're actually doing a public service
yes.
in enabling that conversation to be had, because you always I used to see politicians going, "This is a conversation which we must have," meaning we have absolutely no intention of having a conversation about this, but I'm going to say this anyway because it sounds good. Whereas what you're doing is you actually are facilitating conversations on this particular matter, and the nation, such as it is having a conversation on the streets of Rutherglen.
Yes,
let's see you having a conversation, or at least addressing the people with this little video that we've got. I think it's a 2-minute video of you with your sandwich board. Let's line that up and go ahead and play that. And so people get a flavour of what it's about.
Bear in mind, I made this sandwich
board
on a
beautiful people of Rutherglen. This is a sign of the times. I said in my last speech that Scotland is going round in circles because one of your feet is nailed down. Well, let me introduce you to the nail. The sign that I'm wearing is the nail that is holding us down. 7 words. A man can't become a woman. Simple. This is a sign that is triggering the whole street. Interesting that, isn't it? A sign of the times that this entire street, 100% of us, can't agree on something that's so utterly simple. So obvious there should be no question. A man can't become a woman. Simple. If I could take all the hormone drugs on the planet, I could undergo any surgery. It's not going to make me a woman. Nothing can, because nothing will. If we can't 100% agree on a matter as simple as this, then I may as well be holding a different sign. The end is nigh. There's only 2 horses in this election, guys. It's me versus a machine. On October 5th, make it simple. Vote Niall Fraser and the Scottish Family Party. Thank you.
You see the people in the background shouting hallelujah.
Oh, well done. Well done. And that got a lot of traction on Twitter. It got retweeted by somebody that's got a large following. And last time I looked on that person's Twitter account, it had over 100,000 views. And I know on your TikTok, it got 50,000 views, but then TikTok removed it.
Yes.
Any news about that?
Well, I mean, this is the thing, right? I'm running to be an MP in Westminster, and TikTok is effectively influencing this election by censoring my content. It was deemed hate speech and hateful behaviour. That speech that you just witnessed there, Alistair, was hate speech and hateful behaviour. And
incredible.
It's simply incredible. And again, it got 50,000 views in a matter of hours. Then I appeal the restrictions, it gets put back up, and then the views keep climbing. Again, binned, taken off. All my content on TikTok seems to be getting targeted and mass reported for just simple things like that. How that can be deemed hate speech is beyond me. It really is.
It is a good question, that, and it needs an answer, quite frankly, because nothing there was hate speech. My goodness me, to advocate hate would be a serious thing, and it's nowhere close to anything that you said. You were just literally pointing out the facts of the matter, and for the TikTok algorithms to decide that that's a bad thing. who knows how on earth that happened. I can only imagine it got mass reported by a certain section of the community, maybe even people who are simply unsympathetic to your party, without even being unsympathetic to the message. Who knows? But there was some kind of mass reporting of that.
Yeah.
And they just whether a real person decided to remove it or whether it automatically got.
I mean,
removed by the
Adam's
robots, who
question
knows?
there. So I just may answer the question before it fires away. But I've not dreamt of it. I've had nightmares, Adam. I mean, this is the thing. I don't think Scotland's ready for perhaps what we've got in store for them yet. I just don't think we're ready for this. We need another few years in order to be fully equipped. We might see a shock result in this election. I say that we can make history twice in Scotland, in Rutherglen and Hamilton West. I don't think the residents and the constituents of Rutherglen and Hamilton West know their importance. We can defeat this hideous gender lie, not on behalf of just Scotland and the UK, but we can defeat it on behalf of the whole, entire West, who is undergoing this psychological torture of this gender ideology. And we can defeat it here. We can lead the world again in terms of just enlightening people and taking them away from this insidious lie.
Yes. I think what you're saying there is a good point about how sometimes the country's not ready for something for a little while. There's an awful lot of things that have kept us confused for years and years and years, and there's a lot of truth that's going to come out in the future, and
yes.
Whether people are ready for that right now, I don't know. As you say, perhaps they're not really ready for the truth because they can't handle the truth, as they say. But who knows? How do you respond? And you must get this from people coming up and going, well, I like what you say, Niall, and you're basically the best candidate as far as ideology is concerned, but we've got to get rid of the SNP, so we can only vote for Labour on this one. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, but what do you say to that?
Well, let me give you, I mean, this is a funny story as well, right? So we're at, me and Richard Lucas, the leader, we're at delivering leaflets to, I think it was Canvas Line, and we're doing the doors, and as we're exiting the scheme, we just hear this car tearing up behind us, right up next to us, screeching on the brakes, right next to us. The windies go down. Is this your leaflet? Yes. Love what you're doing, but I can't vote for you. We thought we were going to get the leaflet thrown at us, but they say, I love what you're doing, but, and this is the kicker, I can't vote for you because we need the SNP out so much. And I can understand that rationale. Everyone can understand that rationale. The SNP are the cancer that is killing us. They are. And I haven't seen one SNP canvasser on all the time that I've been on the high street. Not one. I think they're purposely avoiding the area. I think they're getting abused off the street. I think they're so detested that it must be horrendous having to canvass for the SNP. It really must. But the answer, what I would say is, if everyone that was intending on voting Labour purely to get SNP out gave their votes to me instead, we could change Scotland overnight. It would be changed irrevocably overnight. The conversation would move in our direction where it needs to move. Then our policies, what we are saying, would be then adopted by, say, the Tories. They would then be pushing things like what we're pushing. It's all about changing the conversation and moving it forward. I understand the fear. The fear is the SNP moves on. If I end up splitting the vote, one man splits the vote, when there's 14 candidates. I mean, it's just outrageous. This is why I say there's only two horses in this race, me and the machine. Labour being part of that machine that has its boot on our necks, that is eroding our freedoms, that are pushing the same things that the SNP are. I mean, my final sort of thoughts on like what I would sort of say to these people is, I understand the rationale. I wouldn't be too hurt if you voted Labour in order to remove the SNP. But this is this paradigm of voting for the best of the bad bunch to get rid of this cancerous SNP needs to stop, because we'll never move forward. We'll always be in this apparatus with a machine controlling us. You know, Burgie Burger says it's like a hamster wheel. It goes round and round and round. I don't know why I steal Daenerys Targaryen's line, but we need to break the wheel.
Yes, very, very good point. Very good point. And unfortunately, Labour are just like the SNP on certainly these issues that you're highlighting, the gender thing. They're wanting to make all of that legal, and they undoubtedly would if they got into power at Westminster. So we shouldn't go into this imagining it's all going to be rosy under Labour. Labour will have the power to change the United Kingdom if they are elected next year, and they will go ahead and they will do it, and we can all just take a deep breath basically as far as that's concerned, because it won't necessarily be much better than what it is at the moment.
Well, I mean, and it's just another wee brief thing as well. Michael Shanks, the Labour candidate, he's not the one campaigning in Rutherglen. It's Keir Starmer, it's Anis Sarwar, it's Angela Rayner. They're sending up activists from England. They're bussing them up in order to campaign. This isn't one local man trying to be elected. This is a whole apparatus, a machine of activists claiming the seat as their own.
Yeah. And actually what that shows as well is, you know, the Scottish nationalists will say, oh, Scotland's just a secondary thought to Westminster, it's irrelevant and so on. But the fact of the matter is this is one of the most crucial British by-elections in years as far as these parties are concerned. And if Labour didn't win, then that will have repercussions on next year's British general election. So, I mean, Scotland, putting aside the players in this particular election, including yourself, as far as this election is concerned, as far as Scotland's concerned, it's a very crucial British-wide election, which could change the face of British politics for better or for worse for many years. So Scotland is again playing a central role in the British Parliament at this particular election. By-elections in Scotland are far more important than by-elections in Middle England, because they hold that crucial balance. Are you going to get Labour? Are you going to get SNP or even Lib Dem or Tory?
The seats in Scotland are Labour's key to Westminster, effectively, and this is why we're seeing Keir Starmer up here personally. Sir Keir Starmer walking the streets of Rutherglen. I don't think he's going to change one mind at all. Not one. It's farcical to think that Sir Keir Starmer would come to Scotland and somehow we would just drop to our knees and vote for him immediately. Just laughable.
Yes, it is. It is a bit. Now, somebody asked the question there. Have you been in? Let me see. Where are we? That's just. It was Alan. Are you going to be on any of the forthcoming debate nights?
I don't think so, Alan. The thing is, I've not been invited to one. You would think that all 14 candidates should be entitled to these debate nights. I don't think they want me in the debates, Alistair. I'll wipe the floor with a lot of them. That's the thing. I could win the election in one debate, literally, and they will not allow me to debate any of the other candidates. They just won't.
It's a good point.
They'll keep me as far away as possible. I could win the election in one or two of these debates, minimum. I would wipe the floor when they wouldn't be able to handle it. And this is the thing. This is why I'm going to be excluded from these debate nights. And it's laughable. I think SNP's vote share, if you look at the last vote, Margaret Ferrier won quite a lot of votes. This time it's going to be almost a thousand, a couple thousand at best. I think the SNP are going subterranean at this point. No one in their right mind is voting SNP in the area. They know the damage they've done. Just the general anti-politician rhetoric we're getting in Rutherglen's huge.
Good. We've got the next debate night, we'll put up the pic of that, and I think it's on the 20th, and we've got the address if anybody wants to be in the audience to perhaps show you some support. So we'll put out, there it is, 20th of September in Rutherglen.
Maybe I should apply to be in the audience as well, Alistair. If they're not going to have me on the panel, why shouldn't I be, as a candidate, allowed in the audience to ask my questions?
Well, good point. You can try. There's one next week, the week after in Kelso, and then one in Perth. So that's 3 before the all-important Rutherglen by-election. Maybe we hold out hope that you might. I know if you did, then okay. I know if you did, then you would definitely generate viral videos on Twitter for them, so they should definitely have you on if they want the eyeballs.
It's crazy, Alistair. I used to think, how are we going to go viral? And now I don't even need to do anything. I just go viral at the drop of a hat. It makes no sense. It's honestly, it's and I don't want to be this ratings monster either. But it just seems like everything I say has been either torn out of proportion or it's just getting an insane amount of views. But if the BBC wanted the good viewership, then include me. But don't expect me to go easy on the candidates, not at all.
Now, this is going to be the first election in Scotland where you have to take along voter ID. And so I wouldn't want to think that MD went along and forgot their ID. So what is it that they need to bring?
So I think it's a driver's license or a passport, or I'll have to get more information on this. So I was talking to the Electoral Commission about this, or the Electoral Office about this. This is the first time in history it's been done. Right. I mean, this is the thing. We're making history like twice or 3 times here in this election. This election's been done at a drop of a hat, right? And I was speaking to another candidate. She's on the list there, Colette Walker, last night. Colette's blind, right? And she was given, such a short window in order to go and get signatures. And if you can imagine, it's really easy for me to go and chap a door. It really is. But for Colette, this is a very difficult task. She's got a guide dog. She doesn't know the area, right? So she's, you see what I'm saying here? It's very difficult in order. So I think we might even put a complaint into the Electoral Commission about in such a short window in order to, 1, gather signatures, and 2, actually campaign. It's so short, this campaign. It really is.
Yes, it is indeed. They certainly made it very quick in that way. I'll tell you something that you might be aware of, but I stood as well as a candidate in your constituency back on the 23rd of September 1999, when it was the Hamilton South Westminster by-election. Now, Hamilton South got changed. It got split into 2 constituencies in 2005, and one of them is the one that you're now standing in. So when I stood, and we'll put up my result, there was 14 candidates. No, there was 12 candidates, and I came 10th. There you go, down at the bottom there. UKIP, Alistair McConnachie, 61 votes. Now,
well done for doing it in the first place, Alistair. This is the thing, it's the action. So, I mean, fair play.
Yes, and I remember that very clearly. And there at the top, Labour won, with the SNP, again, very closely following, just with a few hundred votes behind. And that was back when the Scottish Socialists were a power. They're not anymore. They're just I should imagine you're going to tank them. You'll get more than they'll get.
Yeah.
But it was good experience anyway. But nobody knew who UKIP were back then. I was one of the first people to stand in Scotland for them. I was actually was I the first candidate ever? I can't recall. I don't quite think I was, but I might have been. Actually. Anyway.
You're a history maker, Alistair, that's for sure.
Yes, well, both of us in that regard. It's at the top of the hour. Now, thanks very much for bringing us the Jen from the streets, from actually somebody who's campaigning right out there. We know that the mainstream media is going to try to suppress you and deboost you, and where it can, chuck you off the platforms. So we're happy to give you as much airtime on
and
this
I'm
alternative.
so appreciative.
Yeah.
I'm so appreciative to the Alistair. Like I said, TikTok should not be removing the content of an MP candidate. They just shouldn't. And likewise, I mean, Twitter's been fine, or X, whatever you want to call it these days. It's been fine. But really, TikTok, it's a view machine. I mean, I didn't know the power of TikTok until I was getting 100,000, 200,000 views on the videos, and I was like, how is this happening? It must be the sort of app that's in everyone's hands, you know.
It is at the moment. We've had much more success on TikTok than we ever get on YouTube, but that's a different story entirely. Let me say thank you very much. More power to your elbow. Now, are you going to be out this Saturday? I should imagine.
I'll be out tomorrow canvassing. I'll be out on Friday at the street stall as always. I'll be out on Saturday. If you're on Rutherglen Main Street, or even if you aren't, if you want to just head down to the High Street, you can't miss me. 11 a.m. to 4 or 5 p.m. on Saturday. And I'll be doing Saturday's my speech day, so I'll write a new speech every Saturday and we'll go and deliver it on the hour all the way up to the election.
Fantastic stuff. Fantastic. Well, well done you for everything that you do, and more power to your elbow. So
thank you.
All the best with your campaign now. We'll say goodnight. Cheers.